This is More Money with economist Steve Moore. Now, Steve Moore.
Welcome back, folks. This is the More Money Show on WABC Talk Radio. I am your host, Stephen Moore. Thanks so much for taking a little time out of this holiday weekend to talk about the economy and finances and some politics. And my next guest is Gary Rabine. Gary Rabine is a board member of the indispensable Job Creators Network. He is one of the most successful small business entrepreneurs in the country. Gary, are you now a Florida or Illinois resident?
I'm Florida for 6.5 to 7 months and Illinois for about 4 months.
I think this is an important message because, as you know, Gary, this station, is flagship is in New York, and we have many, many, many listeners in New York City. And that is another high-tax state. But you and I both grew up in Illinois. I love the Chicago area. I think Chicago is one of the great cities in the world. It breaks my heart to see what's happened to that state and that city. And, we can't afford to live there any longer. You can't grow a business there any longer. So you are doing what so many people are doing and having to move your business and your headquarters out of Illinois to the state that just about everybody is moving to, Florida. What made you make that decision?
Well, the fact is the cumulative taxes in Illinois are higher than California or any state in America now.
Wait. Hold on. Say that again.
Yeah. The cumulative taxes of Illinois are the highest in America now.
Higher than California?
Higher than California. And what makes it higher than California, Steve, is California actually had the common sense, at least in the late 70s, to get to put their property tax with Proposition 13 at 1%. Illinois now is my property where I live is taxed at 4%. My commercial
4% every year, right?
Get this, my commercial properties were taxed at 10%, 10% of the value. Okay, so when you add those to the high gas tax and high income tax and all the other things, you end up to be the highest in America.
So it's kind of sad because you're. Oh, by the way, would you tell our listeners, because Gary is one of the great entrepreneurs. You're running one of the biggest construction pavement companies in the country now, and tell our folks how it started. I love this story. And, I think you said you did when you graduated from high school, you didn't go to college. You started this little business and it grew and grew and grew. And I just love it. So would you tell people how it happened?
Yeah, in 1981, graduated college and really didn't think college was for me, and started in the paving business out of high school. We were seal coat. We did seal coating of driveways and patching of driveways.
Did you do that kind of work yourself? Did you actually start out? Doing?
No. I did it for somebody else through high school from the time I was 13 to 18 years old, and then for myself after that. But it was in your backyard where you grew up in the North Shore, where people had a little bit more money. That's where I started it. That's where we started it. And so today we're the largest the privately held commercial paving company in America. We pave, thousands of parking lots across the country for big building owners and such, and we just have a blast doing what we do. But guess what? We're not going to want to grow our businesses anymore if communism happens, right? If Kamala becomes our president and her tax system goes in place, we will not want to grow our businesses any longer, and we're going to shrink. Like anybody, you're going to want to shrink your businesses because you're going to get taxed to grow your businesses.
So, and of course, if you shrink your business, that means fewer workers.
Yeah, of course, you're gonna lay good people off. The unemployment is going to go to the highest level we've ever seen if this woman wins as our president. And really, it's a matter. It's kind of like what Pritzker's done to Illinois, Kamala will do for the whole country. That's why Pritzker would have been the perfect VP candidate. Big, fat, and lazy, and never worked a day in his life.
Yeah,
right.
He inherited his money. Yeah.
Never worked a day in his life, but yet he's going to tell us how to live our lives and tax us until we leave. It's not again. So Illinois is a terrible case. It's a very good case study when it comes to if you don't like business and you don't like people that earn money, then just tax the hell out of them. Even the ones that love the state, like you and I, will eventually leave.
So I saw this story the other day about how we have this in our hotline. By the way, people should get our hotline. Just go to unleashprosperity.com and you can get this free newsletter every morning. And we had an item in there about how the Marxist mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, has now decided that he wants the government to run the grocery stores. How's that going to work out?
Well, when you okay, so, and a lot of people probably know what happened there, but they're in a place in this great city of Chicago where I have a condo there that I love downtown that I used to use all the time. Don't use it often now, but bottom line is where that condo is at. The stores are all boarded up. Great stores and department stores and grocery stores all boarded up and not going to open anytime soon because of the treatment this goofy communist mayor and this crazy socialist communist governor have treated the state and the city by. But here's what's happened. So when you look at it used to be $500. If you steal less than $500 in the city of Chicago, you know what? You're not going to get thrown in jail. It's a misdemeanor. It's no big deal. They probably won't even bring you in. Now, because of inflation, they raised that to $999. With inflation, you got to do that, right?
You got to keep up with inflation.
You got to keep up.
Even the burglars have to keep up with inflation.
Exactly, but guess what happened then? Now all the grocery stores, the Walmarts, the good stores have left the great parts of the city. So they have to put stores in run by the government. Well, guess what? It looks amazing. A lot like communist Germany, right? If you look at East Berlin and West Berlin, on one side of the wall, you had stores with one item you can buy. And you didn't have 5 or 6 selections. You had one thing you could buy, one generic thing. This is what it's going to look like in the city of Chicago, and it's a terrible thing. But this is what bad leadership is.
Yeah. What worries me, Gary, is that you've got. I really believe that if Kamala Harris wins, that the solution, because we've got all these, quote, price gougers out there, that, the government's just going to come in and run the drugstores and the grocery stores and the, equipment stores and the hardware stores, because they'll be able to provide the stuff for you at a lower price, which of course I'm just joking. Well, I'm joking that they would provide a lower price, but I actually do think these idiots think that the government could run these stores better than people like you. So I'm going to ask you a personal question, Gary. Are you price gouging?
You know what? If making 5 or 6% net profit on the work you do is price gouging, boy, you know what? I guess we're price gouging. But guess so. Again, I believe that business today, for us to compete, we've always had to be very, very efficient and very cost effective, and had to work off a low profit margin, right? So if all our businesses together do $350 million in revenues, okay, $350 million in revenues. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $40 million of that. Actually, let's say $330 million of that gets injected back in the economy, and then the rest we reinvest in our business, right? Yeah. We keep very little. We keep salaries and some bonuses, but very little goes back to the employees, the leaders of that business, and the stockholders. We like growing the business and the value of the business, but if they tax like she says, she wants to tax unrealized gains. So guess what? We will have no incentive to continue to grow these businesses and reinject all this capital in the economy.
It's scary, actually. And, Gary, you've been such a successful businessman, and I think that a big problem is that when you look at the people at the top in the Democratic Party today, Joe Biden, who's the president, you've got Kamala Harris, who's going to be who is their presidential nominee. You've got Tim Wirtz, who is their vice presidential nominee. Those three, do you know how many years of business experience those three have?
They're a bunch of zeros, so I'm guessing zero.
Zero. Really? Here, let me use an analogy, and then and then I'd love your kind of response on this. If you got on an airplane and you walked onto the plane, and the pilot's saying, I don't really know how to fly this thing, are you going to get on that plane?
Absolutely not. No, exactly. And you had the same thing in the Obama administration. The Obama administration, businesses retracted. We had challenges because all the regulation buildup. That's why I got involved when Bernie Marcus started this great organization, Job Creators Network. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He called them the best economic mind he can find in you. He called in some small time CEOs like myself and said, let's start this thing and let's fight this crazy regulation that he's seeing. And boy, we all were psyched up about it because we knew there was a big need, and that organization's done great things ever since. But again, when Trump won, then guess what? it was like the clouds had lifted, and we had opportunities again, and businesses gained in value fast, right? Because everybody was doing business again. Walmart and the biggest companies in the country were investing now in improvements and doing things they weren't doing in the Obama administration. The same exact thing is going to happen. It has happened with Biden. And it's going to be 5 times worse with Kamala and this tax and spend thing that she wants to do to our country.
It is frightening, folks, and that's why I wanted to have Gary on to just explain from the ground floor about how you grow a business, how a business operates. I think you should be look, I'm being completely serious. I mean, you would be far, far, far more qualified to be president than Kamala Harris, who really. For example, when she talks about profit, these profit greedy corporations, she has no idea how hard it is to make a profit. You had probably some years where you didn't make a profit. Well, you're so good, maybe you didn't, but every company goes through some hard times, and you got to battle through those times.
We've gone through hard times, Steve, a few times in our careers, but I got to tell you, I look at my 15 companies right now that I have. Every single leader, even the smallest business I have, is way, way more qualified to lead our country than Kamala, okay? Because they have common sense, they understand budgets, they understand what it takes to make a profit, they understand how to serve the customer, okay? As government leaders, like Kamala, one thing Trump did, he served the customer. He drove lower taxes. He served the black community. He served the business community, right? She's never served anybody or anything. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to say who she probably served, but there's rumors out there that she served a couple people, I guess, over the years, but not the way you and I believe is important. In business, you have to serve customers to keep them coming back. You have to do it at a competitive price, and you have to differentiate and create value, okay? Same thing we have to do in business, in government, in my opinion. We do in business already. She's never done that before. J.B. Pritzker, his fat butt, has never done that either before, okay? This is why they're terrible at leading in government.
So my guest is Gary Rabine, who runs one of the largest paving companies in the country, has been an incredibly successful entrepreneur. He is a board member of Job Creators Network. I neglected to say, and so everyone knows, he is also a board member of Unleashed Prosperity and has been a big help to me in terms of the management of our organization as well. So, Gary, on the way out in our last minute and a half, I'm going to ask you the same question I've asked every one of our guests, and we'll do so through the election. I asked Newt Gingrich earlier on this show, if you were advising Donald Trump, and I know you've met Donald Trump and talked to him, what 1 or 2 pieces of advice would you give him? What should he be doing that he's not doing now? We have a race that is basically every poll is saying right now it's basically a tied race. I think Trump is going to win, but it's a tied race. What should he be doing differently? What advice would you give him?
So my advice would be really stay to the points, the top 10 points that his staff believe are most important, that his administration will excel at.